Hey everybody, welcome back to another movie review. You probably just saw my reflection back there. Um, just got done seeing Bardo, a handful of chronicles. I forget what the whole title is, but basically a Bardo. Written, directed, I believe also edited, produced by Alejandro Inarritu, who's obviously done some notable work in the form of Birdman and The Revenant. Birdman I have not seen, but I heard it's pretty good. The Revenant I have seen, and it lingers a little longer than I would want it to. Um, but it's visually quite nice, and I do think that some of the technicalities that Inartu likes to operate in are interesting when they have fundamental sense to them. Um, and in the case of Bardo, which is a semi biopic about the filmmaker in his, what basically is kind of like I guess, a midlife crisis, but also, asking questions in regards um, to to one's divine purpose and reflecting on their past events, asking themselves, what they're if they're really seeking for themselves or seeking approval from others. Um, like it brings up interesting ideas, but as I brought up just now in regard to his style, with his technicalities, um, when placed in the right, when placed with purpose, it kind of works. But I also have always felt that technically speaking, his films are a little strange. A lot of long takes, a lot of moving around with the camera for a long time without cutting. It seems interesting, and I kind of would actually support that kind of filmmaking. But in terms of Bardo, it feels purely from its visual language very very nonsensical. Um, Funny enough, I don't know where it premiered. I believe it filmed. I believe it premiered at Cannes, and it was originally much longer. I think it was like 3 hours long, and based on the reception from Cannes, in R2 had the film cut down to 2.5 hours, and man, does it need more cutting because it is still incredibly long, and very arrogant and very self-indulgent, I must say. It's the kind of biopic or the like kind of self-reflective kind of work that I don't like, because it's a film that kind of does whatever the hell it wants to, both visually and narratively. It just speaks on rambles and talks about a lot of stuff philosophically, and visually it just kind of does whatever it wants to. Like at one point we'll bring up historical figures, and then at other points we'll do this and that, and the film addresses that within its own, within the film. It talks about that sort of thing, about like, oh, doing this and that, and the filmmaker, at least the person that we follow throughout the film, at one point eventually like says like, well, it all makes sense to me in my head. And that's not that's not great storytelling. That doesn't, it doesn't make the film good because it makes sense to you. Okay? Um like, and I feel like the title kind of, suggests that as well. The type of arrogance that this film has. Um I was completely uninvolved. The narrative was interesting at some points, but for the most part, it's super long. It's up its own ass. I really feel that way. I really feel like it's a film that just kind of bathes in its own ego, um, and it's just the wrong approach when talking about, like when you're doing a biopic on yourself, or talking about certain things directly to your audience about yourself. I feel like that there's a certain approach, like with the Fablemans this year, I really loved because it didn't rely on self-indulgence, and it just kind of told a story. It went through the emotions, and it allowed us to invited us in as well to relate. This just really feels like, as again the film kind of addresses, it feels like someone having a tantrum, like they're just endlessly talking about certain things, and by like I think the hour and a half mark, I was just done because it just kept continuously doing this visual like nonsense, of like, yo, we're gonna go here, oh, we're gonna go there, oh, we're gonna do this, and maybe we're in his head, maybe it's real, maybe this person's not there. And they also, this movie loves to psych you out as well. Like it's like, oh, you think that's real, but no, it's not, or oh, maybe it was real, or maybe this and that. And while it may make sense to Alejandro, it doesn't to me. And I just I understand what the film fundamentally is about, but I don't appreciate the attitude. I don't appreciate the behavior. I don't like the way that it visually represents itself. It just feels so nonsensical, and it feels, again, like egotistical. And it's too long. Like, it really needed to be cut down a lot more. Um, and like, I just started to get really bored because it wasn't doing anything new. It was just doing the same crap over and over and over again. Let's do these crazy visuals, and then let's do these technical things of doing these long ass takes. Let's speak in rambles, talking about philosophies that we've addressed over and over again. Let's bring in historical figures because why not? Um, like, just because the idea is in your head does not mean that you necessarily have to put it on screen. And it feels like that's what Alejandro did with this film. It's like anything that kind of popped in his head, he's just like, all right, I guess we'll just use that, you know? Even if it doesn't make fundamental sense, even though it comes across as just, kind of self indulgent and egotistical, like, it just feels tired and it just feels redundant and, again, just kind of all about itself. Um, and it just does whatever it wants, and that's the biggest problem with the film. It just does whatever it wants to do. It doesn't have any boundary. It doesn't have any um, like set rules to its story, or like, oh, we can't go to this place or we can't do that, because without that kind of groundedness, your story just feels like I said, nonsensical. It just feels like it just does whatever it wants to do, and that's a big problem. There should be some restriction. Should be some kind of through line, and there sort of is, but you're not attached to it. You're not involved in it. You can give a shit about the characters. You like, the characters are not even characters. They're just things for us to. It's like we're on a tour almost. It's like, all right, we're in this room, and now if you follow me into the next room, we'll show you another piece of visual nonsense. Um, like, it just, it doesn't. It's very very uninvolving, and again, very self indulgent and too long. I think that he needed to cut it down way more. Like, a good hour of this film, I feel like you can cut out, and tone it down with the visuals, because, um, I mean, I appreciate it just as it is. Like, it's pretty to look at, but I can't comprehend it, or I just don't care about it, you know? So, so yeah, I mean, if you want to see someone kind of just, you know what I mean? Like, if you want to, because it kind of feels like that. If you want to see someone kind of, in some ways, pleasuring themselves and just, like, again, throwing like a big fucking tantrum, and if that's something that you jive with, I guess that kind of mentality, I guess Bardo will be something for you. But if you're looking for something more cohesive and something more emotionally involving and just involving in general, having characters that actually, are engaging and not just tools to get you to the next visual crap, um, then I wouldn't check out Bardo. It's just very much up its own ass, and just very much about itself, and that's the biggest problem. Um, so that's my thoughts on Bardo. I did not like it, but you guys let me know your thoughts on Bardo. Did you guys like it? Did you guys hate it? And if anyone saw the original cut, be curious to hear your thoughts on that if you were at the festival. Um, but that's gonna be it for me, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. Stay tuned for more videos in the future. This video will probably come out a little bit later. I don't know, maybe before 2023, hopefully. If not, hey. But that's gonna be it for me. So I'm gonna now go take a piss because that movie was way too long. 2.5 hours is 2.5 hours is not bad, but you have to have substance or something. This just didn't have it for me. So because usually, like, I'll hold my piss if it's like warranted, like there's something at play here. Um, but I was ready to leave and, go to the bathroom like about an hour and a half in. So, but I gave it a chance, and yeah, I'm gonna go to the bathroom now. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.